A 12-year-old girl disappears with her bicycle. 2 years later, a college student is found dismembered in a river. Then, on one September night, 2 young women and a theater worker vanish from the same small Idaho town. The women's bodies are later discovered miles away. The man is never found. 5 victims, 1 valley, no conviction. Before this investigation ends, we will enter the theater at the center of the mystery, examine the suspect police once said they were 99% certain about, and confront the question detectives still cannot answer. Was one killer hiding in plain sight, or were 5 tragedies forced into a pattern that never truly existed? The Lewis and Clark Valley straddles the border between Idaho and Washington. Lewiston sits beside Clarkston near the meeting of the Snake and Clearwater rivers. Asotin lies only a short distance south. The region is large enough to contain 2 states, several law enforcement jurisdictions and busy highways, but small enough that many residents knew one another through work, school, church, or community activities. Between 1979 and 1982, 5 people disappeared or were killed within this connected area. They differed in age, gender, and background. 1 was 12. Another was a university student. 2 were young stepsisters. The 5th was a 35-year-old theater employee. 3 bodies were recovered. 2 people vanished so completely that no confirmed remains have ever been found. Investigators have repeatedly considered whether the cases were connected. Some detectives believed the similarities were too strong to ignore. Others who worked the investigations argued that the victims may not have shared one killer. That disagreement has defined the mystery for decades. The first disappearance occurred on April 28, 1979. Christina White was 12 years old. She had attended the Asotin County Fair and later went to a friend's house. Christina called her mother and said she was not feeling well. She was told to come home. She never arrived. Her bicycle disappeared with her. Searchers looked for Christina and the bicycle. Neither was found. There was no recovered crime scene, no confirmed abduction vehicle, no body. The absence of physical evidence created a case built almost entirely on witness statements, memory, and opportunity. Years later, police publicly said that a man connected with later cases had told a former sheriff he had been at the house Christina visited on the day she disappeared. The same man reportedly offered to help search for her. Investigators regarded that information as suspicious, but it was not sufficient to support a murder charge. Christina's disappearance established the first point on the map. At the time, no one could know that another young woman would vanish 2 years later, or that her remains would be found in the river. On June 26, 1981, 22-year-old Kristin David began a bicycle journey from Moscow, Idaho, toward the Lewiston and Clarkston area. Kristin was a University of Idaho senior studying broadcast journalism and political science. She never completed the journey. Approximately 1 week later, portions of her dismembered body were recovered from the Snake River. The investigation crossed multiple jurisdictions, involving agencies from 2 states, several counties, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Kristin's death was clearly homicide, but the recovery location was not necessarily the murder scene. A river moves evidence, currents separate objects, water damages biological material. A killer can use that movement to distance the remains from the place where the attack actually occurred. Investigators examined people connected to Kristin's route and her life, but no arrest followed. Evidence was later sent for renewed Federal Bureau of Investigation laboratory examination as technology improved. Some investigators later believed Kristin's murder might be connected to Christina White and the 3 disappearances that followed. Others disagreed. The differences mattered. If all 5 cases were connected, the valley may have contained one serial offender. If they were not, combining them could distract investigators from separate motives and separate killers. The most disturbing sequence occurred on September 12, 1982. Christina Nelson was 21. Her stepsister, Jacqueline Brandy Miller, was 18. That evening, Christina left a note saying the women were going out to complete errands. They disappeared. On the same night, 35-year-old Steven Pearsall was dropped off near midnight at the Lewiston Civic Theatre. He intended to work and practice his clarinet. He was never seen again. The women knew the theatre community. Christina had previously worked as a janitor there. Steven Pearsall also had connections to the building. Police later theorized that Christina and Brandy may have passed the theatre that night, and that all three could have encountered the same person. But no witness publicly confirmed seeing the women enter the building. The theatre theory remained a reconstruction, not a proven fact. At first, Pearsall's disappearance created suspicion. Could he have harmed the two women and fled? Later, police records rejected that interpretation. Lewiston authorities stated that Pearsall was not considered a suspect and was probably another victim. 3 people had vanished in one night. No confirmed crime scene was found, and for 18 months there were no bodies. Then 2 hunters discovered remains near Kendrick, Idaho. In March 1984, the bodies of Kristina Nelson and Brandy Miller were found near the bottom of a steep embankment outside Kendrick, roughly 27 to 35 miles from Lewiston. The passage of time and exposure complicated the investigation. Steven Pearsall was not found with them. His body has never been recovered. The discovery confirmed that the women had been killed, but it deepened the mystery surrounding Pearsall. If the same person killed all 3, why were only the women placed at the embankment? Was Pearsall concealed somewhere else? Was his body destroyed? Or did a different sequence unfold than investigators believed? No publicly confirmed evidence has answered those questions. By the 1990s, Lewiston police spoke openly about a primary person of interest connected to several of the cases. The individual had ties to the Lewiston Civic Theatre. He told investigators he had been inside the building on the night Christina, Brandy, and Steven disappeared. According to his account, he left for food, returned, and slept until early morning without seeing or hearing anyone arrive. Police were deeply skeptical. In 1995, a Lewiston police captain told the press that investigators were 99% certain about the person responsible for 4 of the cases. The statement referred to Christina White, Christina Nelson, Brandy Miller, and Steven Pearsall. Police believed the 3 1982 victims may have been killed in or around the theatre. They also noted the person of interest's connection to Christina's final known location in 1979. But certainty in an interview is not proof in a courtroom. Investigators did not have enough admissible evidence to charge the person. No confession was obtained. No publicly disclosed deoxyribonucleic acid result placed him at a murder scene. No recovered weapon tied the cases together. He was never convicted of any of the 5 killings. Police suspicion remains part of the case history. It is not a legal verdict. The theory of one killer is compelling. 5 victims disappeared within a limited region and time period. 3 of the 4 female victims had remarkably similar first names. Several had links to the same community institutions. 3 vanished on the same night. A person of interest appeared in more than one investigative timeline. But investigators have never spoken with one voice. A former Lewiston detective believed all 5 disappearances were connected. Another detective who worked the cases stated that he did not believe the same killer was responsible. Kristin David's case involved abduction from a bicycle route, dismemberment, and disposal in a river. The 1982 victims disappeared near a theatre, with 2 bodies later placed near an embankment. Christina White vanished with her bicycle and has never been found. Those differences could represent one offender changing methods. They could also indicate unrelated crimes. Patterns can reveal a killer. They can also be created by coincidence, geography, and the human need to connect unanswered tragedies. In 2017, authorities announced a renewed review of the 1982 cases. The Nez Perce County Prosecutor's Office formed a cold case unit with Lewiston detectives and prosecutorial staff. Investigators plan to examine old reports, re-evaluate evidence, and submit suitable items for advanced deoxyribonucleic acid testing. The unit also worked with the Asotin County Sheriff's Office because of the possible connection to Christina White. Cold case science has transformed investigations once considered impossible. Tiny biological samples can now produce profiles. Genetic genealogy can sometimes identify relatives. Digital databases allow agencies to compare crimes across states, but technology cannot create evidence that was never collected. It cannot reverse contamination. It cannot restore a crime scene that remained unidentified for decades. And without a verified sample from the offender, even advanced deoxyribonucleic acid testing may provide no final answer. The confirmed timeline spans 3 years. Christina White disappeared from Asotin in April 1979. Her bicycle was never recovered. Kristin David vanished while cycling in June 1981. Her dismembered remains were found in the Snake River. On September 12, 1982, Christina Nelson, Brandy Miller, and Steven Pearsall disappeared from the Lewiston area. Nelson and Miller were found dead near Kendrick in 1984. Pearsall remains missing and is considered a likely victim, not a suspect. 5 lives were lost or erased from view. 3 families recovered bodies, 2 did not. Investigators identified persons of interest, followed confessions from unrelated killers, tested evidence and reopened files. No one was charged with all 5 cases. No jury examined a complete prosecution. No verdict explained what happened. Did Christina White encounter the same person connected to the theater? Was Kristin David selected by that offender or killed by someone entirely different? Did Christina and Brandy enter the Lewiston Civic Theater? Did Steven Pearsall witness something and become a victim? Where are Christina and Steven? The Lewis and Clark Valley murders remain powerful because the geography feels contained. The roads connect, the rivers meet, the towns face one another across state lines. The victims lived in overlapping circles. Yet the truth remained divided between agencies, jurisdictions, theories, and decades. A small community can remember every victim. It can preserve every rumor. It can point repeatedly toward one door. But memory is not evidence. Suspicion is not proof. And certainty without a prosecutable case cannot deliver justice. The valley still holds 2 missing people. It may also hold the evidence that explains all 5 cases, or it may contain 5 separate stories that investigators have never been able to untangle. If you found this investigation compelling, subscribe to Mysterious Crime, like this video, share it with someone who loves true crime documentaries, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next case. Every mystery has a story,